County deputies are worried there may be more victims after a man was arrested and accused of sex abuse against a child. This is a mugshot of Jesus Naranjo Gallardo, who was arrested on January 10th in Texas at the Mexican border. He was brought back to Oregon on Sunday. The investigation started in October of last year when a family member of the victim reported the sexual assault. Deputies say they learned the abuse had been going on since 2022 and was not reported until recently. Detectives say that he worked as a teaching assistant at Neil Armstrong Middle School in Forest Grove, where he had contact with kids similarly aged to the known victim. He was placed on leave. Deputies say additional victims may not have yet come forward and are asked to contact the Washington County Sheriff's Office.